AQA Love and Relationships Grade 9 Essay Plan Series Episode 1 for Love's Philosophy versus When We Two Parted. Just a quick note that over the last couple of weeks I have been writing up some really unique essay points so that you can use them, and I would really appreciate it if you subscribed and liked this video. Now, this is the structure of the comparative essay plans that I've created, and this helped me to achieve 4 marks in the poetry section and eventually get a grade 9. So this is how this video is also going to be structured. So there'll be 2 lines of arguments and then there'll be sub-points. Now let's begin with our first line of argument. Both poets explore desperation in romantic love through nature. Moving on to the subpoints that basically explain how the poets explore desperation in romantic love through nature. So the first subpoint is that in When We Two Parted, Lord Byron placed emphasis on natural imagery to highlight the sense of relatability, that the termination of relationships is commonplace. Now, the second subpoint is in Love's philosophy, there is a greater emphasis on the supernatural, signifying how the need for romance and love is universal and omnipresent. So you can see how both we've talked about nature, but in When We Two Parted, it was more about, normal nature, whereas in Love's philosophy, it was more about the universal, supernatural, magnificent sense of nature. Now, here are the supporting quotes. The dew of the morning in When We Two Parted. So the dew has connotations of the last remnants, and morning is actually a homophone used to symbolize death, because morning could also be talked about death. In Love's philosophy, there is progression from fountains to moonbeams and from mix to clasp. And this progression is going to be labeled juxtaposition because there's a gradual progression from the very natural sense of the fountains to much more richer imagery of moonbeams. And it suggests that he's getting more passionate and more universal about his messages. Now let's look on to our next line of argument. So our second line of argument is that both poets' alternate use of structure either acknowledges or challenges the boundaries. So in Love's philosophy, it's constructed like a philosophical argument. It's very regular and it finishes with a rhetorical question. Now, this very formal structure imposes this sense that he will continue to challenge the boundaries, and he is providing lots of lengthy arguments for doing so. Now you can see here's Love's philosophy, and it moves from a declarative, the fountains mingle with the river, to a rhetorical, if thou kiss not me. Now, you could say and could argue that the progression from a declarative, which is very sure, to a rhetorical, which is a little bit questioning, suggests that he's growing a little bit unsure. But on the flip side, you could also say that because rhetorical questions are a method of persuasion, when you're trying to persuade someone, you ask them a rhetorical question which they know the answer to. So he's getting more in depth. There's a very consistent rhyme scheme, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, and there's also anaphora used. Now, the implication that the interconnectedness of everything in the world suggests that they should also be connected together in love. Now, what that means is that the whole argument that Percy puts forward is that because the fountains are with the river, everything in nature is in harmony and harmonious, he should also be harmonious with a loved one. Now let's look at When We Two Parted. So When We Two Parted doesn't have a philosophical structure, it has a cyclical structure. And this indicates the endless mental toil of the relationship. It begins and ends with silence and tears, and it has connotations of death, as we said in the morning, and also the irretrievable state of the relationship. There's plenty of words used, a whole semantic field of knell, cold, and this creates this furthermore deathly idea. And it also has the same rhyme scheme as Love's philosophy, A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. But instead of showing consistency in terms of an argument, it shows consistency of his sadness, his loneliness, and his ongoing feelings of regretting the relationship. Now, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe to both Know All for GCSE and Know All for A Level. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.